Welcome, welcome one and all to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, featuring today a 1 vs 1 on Langres. Yes indeed, Langres. We shall be watching Xcomreborn fighting for the United States, fighting in the name of the 3rd Infantry Division, going up against WMDHigh, fighting for the, 2nd Panzer Division. Wehrmacht quarters going up here, 2 Pioneer start. Pretty much standard start from him. Standard start from Xcomreborn. And let's just refer to this as the standard start anyways. Barracks up, obviously there. Wehrmacht quarters, nothing new. Volksgrenadiers also considerably standard. Point secured over here. Pioneers heading down the left side. Pioneers heading over the right side. Probably the Volksgrenadiers will secure this strategic point, ensuring that Pioneers can focus on resources initially. And we're seeing this munition actually being focused on. Usually you see this one being the point of attention, but rather looks like Xcomreborn is focusing on the left-hand side. He's actually seeing something peculiar. We're actually seeing a Jeep start up for Xcomreborn. Besides this, bit of capping. And he's probably going to use that to harass the opponent initially. Cause a bit of confusion, harassment and anger as the Jeep rolls in. Probably going to try and see if he can't harass up here. In fact, note, High is actually going for the victory point first. Usually see the fuel being the point first, and obviously this is what Xcomreborn is hoping to disrupt initially. And usually such disruption tactics can work out nicely, in particular if the opponent really gets flustered by it. In this case, it was a minor shoot and run, apparently. Volksgrenadiers are going to move in and sort that one out. Another squad of Volksgrenadiers on the way. Jeep slightly pulls away. Volksgrenadiers being a bit cautious. Jeep will probably bide its time before charging in again. Obviously, he's spending a bit of manpower to basically delay the Wehrmacht's fuel. It looks like he's just moving on. Might decide to prey on something else, something less heavily armed with rifles. And there we go, falling upon the Pioneers, hoping to disrupt and perhaps even completely ruin it. But no, we are seeing Volksgrenadiers moving in. Munitions will be secured. And now the Jeep is in a bit of trouble, coming under fire from the Volksgrenadiers, from the Pioneers. Although we are now seeing a rifle squad moving in to add into support. And in fact, push it with the Jeep now in a bit of roll, since it isn't the one doing most of the fighting. Riflemen discreetly pull back into the house nearby. Volksgrenadiers at the north, though. Riflemen could find themselves a bit surrounded in their current premises. And there we go. Hank goes down. Shot through the jaw. We are seeing the Jeep pulling out a bit, but back again. Engineers going for this point already, though. Xcomreborn has managed to secure most of the map. Not to say that Wehrmacht is just doing poorly. Volksgrenadier down. Jeep continues, going for the cutoff there. Mining there. Rather aggressive play by the Wehrmacht players, also going for the victory point down south, in fact. Right in Xcomreborn's territory. Another rifle, in fact, bites the dust. Down to 3 men, in fact, so that's rather suddenly going well for the Wehrmacht up north. In fact, they have laid down sandbags to protect, and the Jeep moving in, hoping to ruin that. Jeep engineers charging in. Volksgrenadiers moving in from the south. Volksgrenadiers squad number 1 could run into the barn for protection, and there's of course engineers suddenly pop up. Flamethrowers holding up there with some Pioneers. Engineers on the run. The riflemen charging in to dislodge the Germans. Engineers popping out. Riflemen down to 2 men. Engineers are moving up close, but they could take considerable damage in the process. Jeep moves in. Engineer down. Another engineer down. We could see another one lost. MG42 number 2 out. So rather in between start for WMDHigh. So far he could get a sniper. That would be a pretty heavy tier 1. But this one is sort of defensive. Could be used a bit aggressively, but mostly... Oh, mine goes off. Killing 2 riflemen and pinning down the rest. Unit went down. Probably a Pioneer squad right there. Unfortunate. MD could probably advance up a bit farther. We could see a rifle squad already lost for Xcomreborn. That would be horrible. Or will this be an incredibly lucky rifleman pulling off a Forrest Gump? And he does so. 3rd squad of Volksgrenadiers out. So actually now going into the more heavier and aggressive Wehrmacht. Starts with 3 infantry and 2 MGs. Let's see if he can pull it off, though. And that would certainly also be a good cue to actually get a medic bunker up, to really benefit from all the wounded this will generate. Rifle a bit under fire. MG taking up position in the house. So 2 MGs here. Really heavy concentration. He's ignoring all the left. He really wants these riflemen gone. He is going to focus everything he has on them. Everything. And he succeeds. Volksguns though have been brutalized in the process. And the 3rd Volksgun squad moves to the west a bit on its own. Could have used some MG support, going for the victory point there. And the troops right here. Oh, we are seeing the MG advancing. The riflemen are awfully close. Will the MG be able to stop it? Hiding in the grass. And there we go, opening up on the riflemen, quickly suppressing them. Reminding them of who's boss. And now we might see the Jeep moving in for another flank. Already, also note, 2 kills on the Jeep. Volksgun squad pulled off. Down to 1 man, in fact. MG here could do with pushing out a bit further, I think. Wehrmacht is slowly making some ground gains. Skirmish phase has been reached. Rifle engaging the Volksguns right here. What shall happen? What shall happen? Pulling up into heavy cover, outflanking the Volksgrenadiers. Nicely done, although taking a bit of damage in the process. Heinz is down. 1 yank down right there. I still think that MG could advance a bit further. And the Volksguns here are going to get outnumbered. A large influx of riflemen arrives on the left-hand side. And there we go, pushed off. While these gentlemen are getting reinforced. MG pulls over to try and plug the hole in the left side, leaving this considerably more open. Rather than arriving, Volksguns retreated. And again, very open now. In fact, the MG is forced to pull back. Might even get overwhelmed. Too few to really protect the flanks and cover that much territory. Engineers moving up. Troops moving out. And we're actually seeing an assault phase. Pretty aggressive, in particular since he's seen nothing from Xcomreborn that could indicate that would actually be safe. So, oh, he lost another Pioneer squad, so even that's going to be questionable at best. Raven here getting stopped, though. Getting shot at. Raven also getting stopped. Minesweepers in, but we're seeing another force pulling up. Another Minesweeper, so clearly Xcomreborn is creating a few assault teams with the express purpose. And there we go, grenade going off at the MG. Oh, flying into an empty room. Ruining a bit of the furniture, but that's about it. Volksguns being forced in. Might be able to equip some of them with MP40s. And there we go, opening up on the riflemen, catching them out in the open. Well, of course, now he should be aware of the Mark II pineapple grenade. And there we go, 1 pops off. Killing 3 Volksguns instantaneously. But the riflemen are, in the end, sent off. No doctrine as of yet for WMDHigh and the 2nd Panzer Division. MG being rushed over there to try and contain the Americans. Again, high aggression from Xcomreborn, really taking every point he can. He's gone for grenades, and of course, slightly, I suppose, a weapon well, a Sturmarmy rush could pay off, but I mean, it might not work otherwise. Right here, they're getting caught, and we're going to see another grenade. No, Volksguns slightly pulled back. Riflemen are dropping, and they are running. Now it's the engineers' time to be sent home. Evicted from the premises. And there we go. They leave, and also note, nice mine there by Xcomreborn. Storm Armory almost done. Question is, though, if you really went for it, perhaps you should have gone for 1 extra unit here, or at least, you know, again, a medic bunker, so we can get some grenadiers out from some of all these false grenadier casualties he's producing. And it is a bit saddening not to see it, because again, that's really going to be something that can easily help out Xcomreborn in the shorter and the longer term. There we go, hunting them down. Going to need to retreat, and there we go, 1 down, 1 down. MD42 setting up. Volksgrenadiers on the run. Point captured. Sturm Army is up, and there we go, armored car on the way. Rifle engineers, really a lot of minesweepers. Xcomreborn taking absolutely no chances with German mines. That's nice to see, certainly a bit rare. Definitely not bad. Well played by him. In fact, let's go have a look at Xcomreborn and the 3rd Infantry. Got quite a bit of resources stashed away. Volkswagen is on the run. MG setting up there. Oh dear, a bit delayed. And we are seeing the right flank collapsing under a grenade assault. In fact, we're seeing a full frontal collapse of WMDHigh and the 2nd Panzer Division's front lines. Everything is on the retreat, pulling back. It's a disaster, a catastrophe. We are now seeing one heavy armored car rolling out. And we're immediately seeing Xcomreborn beginning laying down mines as close to the front as he can. Really aggressive play, nice to see. This MG definitely though needs some reinforcements. There we go. Rather than getting blasted, more mines. Lovely, lovely again. Note the aggressive placement. As soon as he's pushed off, as far as he can without the Germans seeing it, he begins laying down mines to really sort of blow him in and do some damage. Lovely. We're seeing the Wehrmacht pushing forwards though under the Overwatcher 1 MG. Volkswagen's moving up, although men are dropping as they rush to the heavy cover. Volkswageners are dying, screaming and bleeding. Riflemen getting up close, hoping to drop a grenade. Mine goes off instead though, and the riflemen themselves though are getting punished. MG moving up, but there's an MG mine, Heinz Minen. Oh, bloody hell. Mine completely took out an MG crew. Absolutely horrific loss right there for the Wehrmacht. And we are now seeing taking back to the Kriegsbacks. Now, that's peculiar to say the least. And again, the lack of a medic bunker is hurting WMDHigh.
We are losing a sector.
Flaps being a bit silly, but mostly stable though. Mostly. Trier Center going up, definitely going to help. Xcomreborn going to keep his men in peak condition, ensuring they won't be dropping so easily in the longer run. In that case, it would also be a nice idea for WMDHigh to get some veterancy up soonish, or begin handing out medic packs to his troops, because again, I mean, these 4 forces could easily end up casualties and basically be free veterancy for his opponent, so that would be something for him to consider. And wiring off there to make it harder for the American opponent to move about, securing territory. In fact, making nice progress on the left-hand side with his own minesweepers. I mean, it's a good idea that. So Kriegberg's up, nothing happening. In fact, he's getting something out of the Wehrmacht quarters. And we actually hear the Goliath, a German remotely controlled demolition charge. They were not really used for blowing up opponents, although some were trying to use it. Mostly they were basically used for blowing up roadblocks, barricades and the likes. Heavy machine gun though fire, keeping the Americans' heads down right here. Volkswagens are moving up, although these are perhaps not quite gefechtsbereit. Being down to 2 men, grenade goes off, and the Germans did have a system for actually sort of rating troops at how much, you know, they were worth in combat. Basically down to completely useless and up to fully ready for all sort of offensive action, in fact. And they're sort of ready for limited offensive action. They're not really useful for offensive action, good in defensive, reasonably alright in the defense, sort of things like that. I believe they had 5 or 6 sort of levels of combat readiness. Riflemen here, though, are suffering brutally. And we are seeing, in fact, a rush straight for a tank depot. Probably what WMDHigh might have been sort of expecting, since he saw nothing else from Xcomreborn, and certainly with the map control Xcomreborn has had. I mean, it's definitely been paying off, partly because he's been able to really, you know, punish WMDHigh a lot of times. Partly again because I think WMDHigh needed some medic bunkers. And perhaps, you know, a slightly heavier tier 1 if you really wanted to go for the Sturm Armory. Usually you'd only go that if you're starting on the riflemen, but BARs, and then go for something like this. Otherwise, you wouldn't really. Oh well. And even then, I mean, you'd go for something. Bit of a gamble right there by WMDHigh. I do think some of the Volksguns could be equipped with MP40s. At least one squad could cause Xcomreborn some problems, I think. We're seeing a pack out, although, I mean, with the tank depot, he's going to need more than 1 pack. I'd also recommend some grenadiers with a Panzer. Mine goes off there, probably spotted. Mine's going down for the Germans. The 2nd Panzer Division digs in. Clearly not the best of its own troops it's sent forward. Probably some rear line troops created in a Sperrverbande formation. which was basically the German blocking formation, meant to hold positions. Point being held there, rifle moving up.
The Axis are winning the battle. Get back in the fight.
Riflemen charging in, getting up close. This could result in a full Volkswagen squad lost for WMDHigh. Get them out of there. Jolly good. Not a lot of infantry. He's spreading it out a bit too thinly, leaving the center position a bit exposed in that way. In fact, we are seeing him pull up right behind the... Oh, mine went off. Raven here getting gutted. Engineers actually getting gutted. And the first tank destroyer rolls up. Mine goes off, pinning riflemen vicariously. Engineers are on the run. Several breaches having pulled off. And we're seeing a Goliath moving in. Brutally evaporating a full squad of riflemen, harming Xcomreborn's cause, but again, he does have the advantage. He's using the buildings for protection against the pack. Nicely done. He has nothing that can actually be used to hunt down the tank destroyers safely. He has no Stug, no grenadiers with panzers, which he could have at least popped into the buildings. And the Pioneer squad going to get executed by the rifleman. He's sending in the armored cars for some reason. Oh dear, this was quite a bit of carnage. MG decrewed. Rifleman squad annihilated. And this and that rifleman up here against the false grenadiers. We're probably going to see a grenade. And there we go. Spotting it and legging it. Perhaps should consider full retreat instead of getting shot at as they pull back. In particular considering they are again. There we go. Grenade goes off.
Enemy unit.
And the false grenade squad was murdered, leaving behind several wounded. 2 squads left. You should consider replacing one, and I would recommend some grenadiers. Minesweepers moving up, going to spot some more German mines. Securing the fuel. Nice progress. More tank destroyers on the way. No Sherms as of yet, but overall not a huge infantry threat from WMDHigh, which is a bit of a shame. MG recruit, though not quite pointing in the right direction. Pack sneaking up, should be careful, should be covered in case of infantry charging it. Currently there is nothing to ensure that does not happen. Engineers being forced away, riflemen moving straight into the machine guns' heavy fire. Tank destroyer pushed away, armored cars could move in, and there we go, close again, second tank destroyer ready. Riflemen getting gutted.
Lines are collapsing.
Another pack out. I would perhaps have fought a single Stug. Might have been helpful as well. I would also like to see some grenadiers with a Panzer, perhaps an MG on top. MG-42 held by the Germans. Apparently with their own squad leader now with the single shot STG-44. That's going to be quite nasty.
Forward supply lines.
Securing the fuel. Holding on to the front. Again, a medic bank I really think could have benefited WMDHigh, but sadly that's not happened. Tank destroyers need repairs. Pioneers here getting shot at again. A nice aggressive harassment off the left-hand side. In fact, now the tables have turned. Xcomreborn is the one with a little not too much territory. Will we be seeing some sort of aggressive play from WMDHigh? Perhaps even going for the munitions right here. Apparently not. Speeding things up a bit. Not a lot of fuel though, so that's actually limiting how many tank destroyers you can get. On the other hand, slight problem for WMDHigh again, his anti-tank defenses are static. Meaning, I mean, if Escomreborn hits the right place, there's going to be nothing to stop his tank destroyers, which is something he needs to be aware of, and again, why I would recommend Stug's a bit easier to use reactively. Now again, not the best, but still better than a pack, which needs to sort of, be pushed all the way across the map. Not exactly the easiest of jobs. Mines down there again. No chances taken. We are seeing terror for WMDHigh, and we're seeing right-hand terror. Fascinating. Not the, terror of seeing his right hand. He's not suffering from some sort of phobia. More reference to the right-hand side of the doctrine. And salvaging the jeep for munitions. Nicely done. Volksgun's advancing up. Pack nowhere near to be seen. He might... Yes, he's going in for the cutoff point. He's playing a bit aggressively right here. But he's lacking support assets. I mean, he was going to make such a push. I mean, perhaps a pack and an MG would have been nice. Instead, he's sending them in on their own and without support. Well, support is coming, but it's not really coordinated. So, perhaps not the best. And now the pack, yeah, needs to cloak quickly. Jeep was salvaged, though, giving a bit of extra munitions. Getting a sniper now. Not confident that was the best idea. Again, a Stug or some grenadiers would have worked better, I think, at this stage of the fighting. Veterancy for the vehicles, actually giving the armored cars some damage reduction. Nice. And we can see here that Xcomreborn is planning something. Small infantry force there. Laying down sandbags here to provide cover and a wall. Tank destroyers waiting here. Sniper moving out. The sharpshooter, the Volksgun's also ready. What is he going for next? Oh, he's gone for Fort Barracks. Interesting. Bit of an interesting choice to make it now as well. And he's getting a third pack. I mean, of course, it'll allow him to create a further strong point here, allowing him to cover this and this.
The enemy has 300 points.
So I suppose that's nice, but again, it could also have been manpower spent on other things, like, say, grenadiers. I really would like to see some grenadiers. Riflemen advancing up. Coming under fire a bit there. Quite a bit of fire inflicted. Several riflemen bite the dust with only one dead crowd to show for it. And there we go, tank destroyers moving up. We are seeing the pack now more in a better prepared position than was clearly expecting it this time around. Armored cars, I think, retreated a bit too fast, leaving the Volksguns and the pack exposed. And we are seeing artillery getting called in. Infantry doctrine chosen for Xcomreborn now. And he's clearly hoping to clear out the pack. And the first round hits the pack crew squared on, sending them to heaven or wherever they might go. Shangri-La, Hell, Tartarus, Elysium, who knows? Or Brighton, I don't know. Engineers sneaking on the left-hand side. Again, this has now been left considerably weakened. Ooh, sniper doing a bit of harassment there, gunning down some engineers and revealing himself. Anti-tank enforced over there. Quite a bit of fuel being floated. He's calling a V1 right here. Not a lot to sort of catch. I mean, infantry is usually not the sort of thing you want to catch unless you're really hoping on some serious misdirection. And we're talking magician-like level of misdirection. But that's clearly not the case. So the tank depot, apparently, he only gets it down to half health. He gets a tree ascender, but overall, I don't think that quite worked out the way he wanted it to. And of course, the question is, was it worth the munitions? Perhaps he should have saved it for some sort of assault himself. Blasting the Yankee positions. Not entirely sure what's going on here. Could be he's not paying attention. Rifleman in. Observation post on the munitions. Clearly he's hoping to get the most out of his artillery. Not a bad idea, obviously. Will armored cars be responding to this over here? Veteran 2 on the way for the infantry, considering again he's got 2 Volksgun squads. I mean, Veteran 2 is not really cost effective. Volksguns do not gain a huge bonus from it. I mean, Grenadiers would have been the better choice to sort of give Veteran 2, or just getting some Grenadiers, Veteran 1 instead. And again, a medic bunker, who really needs that. Armor car up, anti-tanking up. Sniper adding in. Tank destroyer is probably going to be reacting now. Riflemen getting punished out in the open, although Veterans 2 for 1 squad. Tank destroyer is getting closer. Sniper needs to get away. Mine there, though, could cover his retreat. There we go. Tank destroyer down. Kaput. And artillery getting called in on the second anti-tank. And armored cars need to pull away. German infantry also needs to get away. And another artillery strike. I mean, this time the second one, though, but completely annihilates the crew. Volkskrieger is on the retreat through the artillery, and a squad goes down. Considerable losses inflicted on the Wehrmacht. The 2nd Panzer Division are definitely bleeding out. Well, that's not to say the armoured cars haven't done their job, and now we're seeing a Panzer Command up.
Yes, sir.
He should, though, get some more infantry, and I would definitely recommend some grenadiers at this stage. In particular, now that he has veterancy too. It would definitely be very, very, very beneficial. And rather make life hard for the riflemen. Back sneaking about, MGs awfully close to each other. Not really covering much. Snipers should be careful. Down to 1 tank destroyer though for Xcomreborn. Lots of riflemen. I mean, if WMDHigh had enough infantry, he could actually pull off a successful assault and do some damage. But again, he doesn't have it. And we... Is he getting... Oh, for heaven's sake. He's actually getting more Volksgrenadiers, not grenadiers. Tisk tisk. And now we're seeing a jeep out for Xcomreborn. What are these engineers doing? Probably something suspicious. A bit quiet though. And note actually, and tank traps right here. He's clearly blockading off this fuel pump, which he's also placed an observation point on. Sniper opens up, so American sniper now out. And he actually revealed himself to the German. Huh. More Volksgrenadiers moving in. Riflemen advancing straight into the armoured cars. And no MG to support. Taking a lot of punishment right there. Volksgrenadiers getting gutted. Volksgrenadiers also getting gutted. Sniper in trouble. He could be very close to getting a firestorm, which he wouldn't really have much of calling on. Anti-tank gun overrun. Sniper retreating. American sniper looks like not to be getting him. Armor cars doing what they can. Riflemen squad down for Xcomreborn. Firestorm called in on the advancing infantry, but they're already going to be away. Not really good support asset usage from WMDHigh. I fear he gets 1 rifleman, 2. I mean, that's not really worth 160 munitions. And artillery hold in on the base. I think he actually got the sniper or something else. There's something else did. And 1 armoured car bit the dust. 2nd Panzer definitely not doing too well. And now we're actually seeing some Panzer IVs coming out.
Our opponent has 200.
And another anti-tank gun getting wrecked. If only he had kept 1 MG over there at least. He could perhaps have popped this one into the building. But again, that's also pretty much the only thing that's holding this entire area is 2 MGs and a single anti-tank gun. Not really the most inspiring of things. And clearly only working as long as Xcomreborn thinks there's something more. Mining down himself, though, as he cuts his way through the wire. Quickly start by 1 MG42 right there. The MG42, a multi-purpose machine gun, could function as a heavy and as a light, or well, medium and light. And ooh, sniper gets one of the MG gunners. Engineers getting murdered, and we're seeing a 2nd sniper out for Xcomreborn. A 2nd armor car rolling in. Mines going down there. Volkskrieger advancing up, and the 1st Panzer IV rolls off to join the fight. Panzer Kampfgruppe 4. Probably for this fight, Ausführung H, or well, Model H actually. One of the later models, also one of the more produced ones. There was the Model J, which was, also the Model G, that was the latest model, which came considerably later in the war. Actually had some odd changes for that one. Increased fuel tank despite, you know, lacking fuel, but no electrical motor to keep the turret turning, meaning it was hand cranked, which was considerably less good. And also mesh wiring for armoured skirts, basically, since there was not so much anti-tank rifles to worry about. There was only then bazookas and such, in which case wire mesh apparently worked just as well. Schwimmark moving in and mine.
They defended the fatherland until death.
Panzer IV though moves up to support here. No veterancy for it as of yet. That could definitely be considered. Rifleman hiding under the tree, hoping the shadowy leaves shall provide protection against the Hun high explosive rounds. Tank destroyer though getting a nice shot from behind the barn. Panzer and armoured car pull away. Volkswagen's moving in for the kill. Still would like to see some grenadiers, and we're seeing a second Panzer Kampfgruppe join out. Panzer IV also served as the basis for many other sort of armoured vehicles, for example for the Flak Panzer IV series, which involved the Wirbelwind, the Ostwind and the Möbelwagen. It also served as the basis for the Jagdpanzer IV and the Panzer IV-70, which was basically a Jagdpanzer IV but with a Panther gun mounted. So quite a few things there. 2 anti-tank guns out. He's clearly got no motor pool, so that must have been an off-map combat group providing him with that. Apparently some riflemen and a 30 caliber. Mine's going down, mine spotted. MG covering here, but not quite there. Does it? Second Panzer Kampfgruppe up. Anti-tank guns moving up. Panzer IV takes a direct hit. In fact, takes a direct volley. While moving up there, MD-42 quickly jumps up on the rifleman, cutting them down. Pioneers up there, salvaging another Jeep. Engineer squad bites the dust. And actually, it's time to have a look at Xcomreborn. My apologies. Sweeping mine, slowly advancing. 2 anti-tank guns, 30 caliber. Mine goes off right there. Panzer IV though moves up, but we are seeing Veterans 1, that's nice, but I mean with all those anti-tank guns, I have no idea why WMDHigh sent that one in. He must have been high. Come on, Fraps. Firestorm though goes off right on the anti-tank guns, eradicating their crews. 30 caliber though moves up, sniper support. Tank destroyer versus 2 heavily damaged Panzer IVs. In fact, the other one has pulled away considerably farther. MG getting cleared out. Volkswagen's moving up to hit the flank. Panzer IV joining in with a high explosive round where it can actually do something. And tank destroyer awfully close, hitting a mine. Will it happen? Yes! Damaged engine. Panzer IV might have a chance. Volkswagen's moving up with the Panzerfausts. Probably the earlier variants, which were considerably less powerful than the later ones, which could pretty much knock out anything. And we're actually seeing artillery going down on the anti-tank guns. Might be he realized he didn't want to hand them over to the Wehrmacht, or perhaps also wanted to, you know, kit something before it got them, I know. Anyways, the anti-tank guns are wrecked. He was probably hoping to get something else, but obviously, I mean, denying 2 anti-tank guns can also be considered important. In particular when he's relying on tank destroyers. But I mean, he's actually taking quite a beating, and I mean, if WMDHigh could get his Panzer war machine up and running, he could actually cause Xcomreborn quite a bit of harm. Of course, I have to see how this one works out. Volkswagen is going to need reinforcement, and again, I would have to see some grenadiers. Mine goes off there. Armor car moving in. Panzer IV will need to be also swiftly dispatched right up to the center. Snipers moving up in support. MG sneaking about close to the Ford barracks.
Yes, sir. Rifles here. Objective secure. Rifle squad defending.
Panzer IV getting repaired by as many pioneers as oh, MG falling into the hands of the United States. That's bad. Quickly getting a sniper shot off and a grenade on the Volkswagen. Several grenades, in fact. Close to setting off that mine as well. MG opening up from the side. MG-42 quick retreat, sling behind the 30 caliber and the snipers hold up the center point.
Krauts are going after our point.
Dangerous, dangerous. Shermans would at this stage benefit to help a bit with the infantry and keep up momentum, also be a bit tougher. But clearly, I mean, the snipers are doing quite a good job of clearing out the support bits. And obviously, if WMDHigh wants a chance, he needs to get those panzers formed into an armoured punch. He needs to focus them and he needs to push hard. Although, tank destroyer armoured 30 caliber rifleman could cause some problems. Of course, you could get a third Panzer IV. Still, he needs to do something, I would say. Immediately coming under fire. Holding up the centre quite nicely. Panzer IV rolls in. The other one, yeah. And there we go. One Panzer IV versus several tank destroyers and an armoured car. Nothing to spot. Wait, anti-tank gun needs to quickly stop. Now, one thing I would have recommended, and we'll discuss this actually after this fight. Armoured cars, tank destroyers getting caught right between everything. Anti-tank and opening up as well. Flaps acting up. Lovely. You could be seeing the armoured car going down quickly. Panzer IV though, brute up. Sticky bombs from the south. Snipers clearing up the anti-tank gun. Propaganda war though, forcing them away, but it's too late. Much too late. Panzer IV number 2 gone. Anti-tank gun desperately getting recrewed. Or does it actually? There we go. Pack recruit once more. And of course, shall be replaced by the Pack 14 Company Heroes 2, and we'll also not be seeing roaming sniper squads like that in Company Heroes 2. 30 caliber though sets up, opens up on the Pack crew, and the full squad is behind it. They could even be recruiting the MG42, and they do. Otherwise, lining up again, one tank destroyer down, but 2 Panzer IVs down. So that's definitely not bad. And of course, I mean, one thing about the placement of the anti-tank, and in fact, I'll just very briefly pause because it's actually a long match, but I mean, when it comes to sort of engaging like this, the trick is not to place it up close, but actually to place it behind everything else. So when the Americans do try for that deep penetration where they move past your tanks, they will then be engaged by the packs. I mean, again, that's what you call defense in depth, where not everything is sort of, you know, focused on ensuring they don't get past, but actually is more about ensuring that when they get past you, there is still something that can do damage to them, and an anti-tank on that far up can actually prove quite more lethal, because again, partly will be nothing you expect, but also again, you know, force him to ruin his plans. So, something there to be considered, ladies and gentlemen. Defense is more than just placing up a lot of stuff at the front. A good defense is the one where there's more than just what can be seen at the front. 30 caliber though, keeping the Volkswagen's heads down on the right side. MG42 keeping the rifle's head down. Firestorm going in. Again, he tries to hold the infantry. Of course, he watches it's gone, I suppose, but I mean, it's also 160 man munitions. Not achieving as much as it could. Rifle up close. Armor car doing what I can, forcing them away. Which seems to be working nicely. But I mean, it's a rather sharp fight. I mean, yes. I mean, Xcomreborn's doing alright now again, but he's certainly had some troubles, and he's not just, you know, swarming in with tank destroyers in vast, unlimited hordes. Sniper doing what he can, MG rushing in. Very depleted, not a lot of infantry left for WMDHigh. In fact, not a lot of anything left at the moment. Again, he probably could have done with a few grenadiers. 30 caliber though, running straight into the MG42, getting suppressed. Getting shot at. Down to 2. Down to 1. Snipers opening up on the false grenadiers. Another Panzer IV rolls out. M30 caliber. No, that's what's actually the MG42 he sent into the German. Straight on. Engineers are sent in to flank the entire position, but there's still the false grenadiers to make short work of them. And the short work of them they make. And the 3rd Panzer Kampfgruppe rolls in. The workhorse of the Axis Empire. And pretty much the second most produced armoured fighting vehicle in the German Wehrmacht. The only one more produced was the Stug 3. So there you go. Quite much produced. Quite a good tank. Although, of course, as the war passed on, it was it's becoming more and more mediocre, and of course a bit more outclassed by other tanks, but still a pretty good tank. A threat to most other tanks, in fact, and of course a threat to infantry. MG moving up. Again, lacking in infantry. Desperately lacking in infantry, in fact, I would say. More sniper fire.
I got a bad feeling about this, Sarge.
Hack actually scoring a kill on some poor bastard. And we do see Reborn, Mr. XCOM, massing quite the infantry force. Moving them in quite a few numbers. Probably going to hit the flank, which is quite exposed. There's not actually a lot done by WMDHigh to protect his flank. No bunkers, no mines, well, besides those few. But no, well, tank traps either. To sort of ensure that the American tank destroyers have to move in from one point at all. Another MG gone. He's not been recruiting this yet, which I definitely think could pay off for WMDHigh, but he's actually got quite a bit of resources. He might be saving together for the Panzer, which, considering that he's mostly dealing with tank, may or may not work. Then again, nope. He's going for an Austrian flak panzer at this stage. Going to be much more exposed to the tank destroyer, so he has to be really careful about that, because again, it has less health. On the other hand, it could put a stop to the infantry's marauding. There we go, recruiting the other MG. He's down to one full gun squad again. Very limited infantry. WMDHigh needs more infantry.
Defend the fatherland until death.
Snipers opening up, clearing up one pioneer squad. The others need to retreat once they heard and saw their comrades being felled like that. Western flak panzer soon done. And there we go. Did not fight in Normandy. Only fought much later, about into this battlefield about the same time as the Clavius Pershing, that is maybe late 1944 and 1945. Rather than entering into the centre, coming under fire of the MG42. Austrian flak panzer very close. Armoured car though needs to consider getting out of there. And there we go, the Austrian unleashes. Sticky bomb on the armoured car. Bunker up. I suspect repair bunker. We could be seeing a King Tiger out on the field soon. Artillery going in. Which could mean a very short lifespan for that bunker.
An elite heavy panzer has arrived.
There we go, King Tiger's ready, and there we go, the Austrian's going to get immediately hit by the tank destroyers, and obviously he's not going to be ready for it. There we go, less than half health from just 2 shots. MG getting sniped and cleared out. In fact, there's nothing left of the MG. That's quite unfortunate. Or was it something else, actually? I'm not entirely sure. Oh, is it the 30 caliber that's inside the house? Yes, I'm sure. Sorry for just looking, but I'm really curious. Oh well. Suppose we'll find out. Troops getting suppressed here. Repair bunker almost done, but the repair bunker is in need of repairs. And so is the Austrian. Almost gone, in fact. Damn it. Pretty sure I saw an MG go down. Yes, indeed, it is a 30 caliber Browning water-cooled MG that is up. Heavy, in fact. World War I, which is pretty much where all the water-cooled of those kinds of MGs came from. Like the Vickers and the Soviet Maxim MG. But repair bunker up, although, yes indeed, in need of repairs. Germans already had their own water cool, but obviously they'd replace that one with the MG34 later on the 42. A few units still had it, but not really frontline units, and certainly nothing in Normandy. Would probably have been on the Eastern Front. Possibly a few actually of the Fortress divisions, I suppose. 30 caliber recruit for the Americans. King Tiger advances, the Königstiger. Bit interesting, he's moving in like that. Panzer IV joining up with an armoured car on the left side. Americans pushing up hard here. I don't like honest that the King Tiger's moving in the zone. It's going to be a target for the tank destroyers. He should have sent it in with support from the Panzers. Ostwind and Panzer IV, at least the Panzer IV, to sort of ensure that the tank destroyers don't rush it. And 30 caliber crew cleared out, leaving behind a small grave with a few dead bodies and a 30 caliber. And looks like he's actually going in for a base assault again. There's been nothing here to really sort of protect against. This is quite the Achilles heel of WMDHigh. That and his infantry, I suppose, since he's well lacking in boots on the ground. Volkswagen's getting sniped. Artillery getting called in on the Kriegbags. He's probably hoping to deny packs. King Tiger's actually moving in for the tank depot. And after the raid right here, he's pulling back. Volkswagen squad went down. He has no infantry now. No infantry at all. Rifle moving in against after the King Tiger. King Tiger, no. He's going to succeed in getting off a sticky bomb. We're seeing a sniper moving up as well. He's hoping to get some of the American ones. Oh, sniper misses. What an absolute bloody shame. King Tiger, though, needs to get out of there. And there we go. We are seeing the tank destroyers. We're seeing the sniper getting bombarded by the tank destroyers, by the Wolverines. Which did see service with the British and the Soviets as well. And probably the Germans and captured versions. Shots firing away. King Tiger already down to half health, not looking good. Armor car pulling up, Ostwind pulling up, tank gun pulling up, and the Panzer IV coming in last. Rather reverse sort of thing of how it should have been going. And at the same time, we're seeing a full assault going in from the side. It's not even bothered wiring it off. MG quickly forced to turn about. Armored car, Ostwind unleashing hell on the advancing rifleman. 30 caliber can't do much either. And there we go. Rifleman caught. Rifleman squad could go down for Xcomreborn. And there we go. One squad evaporated, mutilated, and heavy losses on the advancing infantry because it's 2 squads down for Xcomreborn. The 3rd infantry right there bled a lot. Off-map combat group providing more riflemen, an armored car, and 2 anti-tank guns. King Tiger just needs to get the devil out of there. But looking bloody for the Americans. He's down to 3 riflemen infantry squads, but that's more infantry than WMDHigh has. The only thing he has currently are some Knight's Cross. And against such numbers, a raid against them, they will be a bit limited. I mean, considering he has a Sturm army, he could consider getting a Nebelwerfer to help deal with some of all of this. To slow down the assault and also clear out the anti-tank guns. Although it looks like he will be flanking one there. King Tiger, though, getting blasted by the other. Ostwind in trouble. Knight's Cross in trouble. Veterancy 3 rifleman. He could try and kill it, I suppose. But no, riflemen make it out of there. Anti-tank gun, though, next target. Panzer IV getting sticky bombed. It's moved too far. It's coming under fire from the... Oh! The losses are undescribable for WMDHigh and the 2nd Panzer Division. So many Panzer IVs have been lost. And now I fear the Ostwind will be the next victim. Rear armor hit. Destroyed engine on the Ostwind Flak Panzer. And it is gone. And there's barely anything left for WMDHigh. The victory points are ticking down for Xcomreborn, but he is slowly wearing down WMDHigh. And again, it's the lack of that medic bunker, which is definitely making it feel very felt on WMDHigh. Trying to clear out that anti-tank gun so it can't be used against the King Tiger. Sniper sneaking about, might try and call in a V1, I suppose, but again... Knight's Cross advancing. There we go, B1. Nothing going on in the German base. Veterans 2 Knights Corps versus Veterans 3 Riflemen. I mean, it's pretty much clear who's going to win this. The Riflemen. But 3 Riflemen are simply dangerous like you wouldn't believe it. Tank depot that went down finally. But there are still 3 tank destroyers and an armoured car. Plus, of course, our off-map combat group could supply more. Tragically, he never bothered with any Shermans though. But again, not so much infantry, so negligible. Anyways, and again, the lack of infantry again is hurting him. It's absolutely ruining it for the 2nd Panzer Division. Panzers should always be supported by infantry. And again, a few grenadiers with Panzer X would really have made a difference. Perhaps a grenadier score with an MG as well. Instead of all those V1 rockets basically amounting to bupkis. And the King Tiger surveys the battlefield and smells petrol burning. Ugh, it's its own engine. Rather than those sneaking about, tank destroyers being made ready for another assault. And the MG-32 covering the victory point. Veterans 3 though, a bit more harder to suppress. Doesn't work out though. Armored car with 39 kills, by the way. That's quite the armored car. MG though retreats it. King Tiger being rushed in. Two Veterans 3 Rifleman squads, by the way, and that's also the only infantry that Xcomreborn has by now. But that's pretty much also good infantry. Panzer IV rolling about. Another Panzer IV. Certainly. Speeding things up a bit, just in case Fraps decides to have another party on my expense. And we're seeing another base assault. He's going for where their defenses are not. And the King Tiger limping away to join the fight. The only thing that actually react are the anti-tank and on the Panzer IV. And another push up there. 30 MG holding up. The 30 caliber still holding up in the Ford barracks. Raven here getting suppressed. Knights, of course, joining in a bit. Shooting their Sturmgewehrs. A carbine lying in the middle of the road, though. And another off-map combat group. I suspect we won't be seeing off-map combat groups in coming years too. Just like we won't be seeing King Tigers just being called in. I mean, if King Tigers are going to be in coming years too, you'll probably require a building this time around like the Panzer Command before you can actually get them. In this case, you actually did have a Panzer Command before you got the King Tiger, so yeah, fair enough. Sniper mark walking about. Not in the best condition. Two Panzer IVs. Not entirely sure what's sending them in like that. Tank so it's quick to move away. And artillery getting called in. It's an absolute mess up. No. Not entirely sure why WMDHigh insists on this. And they're getting in after the King Tiger. The tank and the Panzer IV cannot assist due to the artillery. Oh dear, he really set it up for himself. Panzer IV and anti-tank are rushing in, but the King Tiger slowly getting overwhelmed, and the Panzer IV is going to go down. Stop the anti-tank gun! Other Panzer IV moving in, but none of them are in any good condition. One tank destroyer goes out. Main gun destroyed. Rifle in the center. Rear exposed. Two Veterans 3 sticky bombs unleashed. King Tiger immobilized. Panzer IV down. Nope, never mind. But there are more tank destroyers actually now rolling in. Was that an armored car flanking? Knights Cross doing what they can, but they're getting slaughtered by the Veterans 3 Riflemen. Anti-tank gun gone. Panzer IV gone. A lot, in fact, gone. And the sniper seems to be not really achieving much either. Looks like he actually got a Veterans Free Rifleman squad, leaving behind only one squad rifleman. But the tank destroys. He just lost both veterans. He's got no infantry left, but he's got 2 tank destroyers, a few snipers, and that's it. But the King Tiger's in any condition to fight, although if he'd actually just bothered upgrading perhaps that armored car with the Puma gun, he might actually been able to knock out the last one, but the Veterans Free anti-tank gun, King Tiger gone. Absolutely an unbelievable armor matchup right here. So many tanks and tank destroyers gone, littering the battlefield with the wreckage. Quite the armored fight. And not a single Panther in sight. Fascinating. Looks like the 30 caliber has also been sorted out. And a few Pioneers and what is largely left for the 2nd Panzer Division or whatever Kampfgruppe was sent in. More Knights Cross being sent in. Obviously to be sacrificed brutally. And he's clearly just relying on off-map combat groups now, and he can largely get away with it, I think. Propaganda will also get 1 sniper away, and Sniper gets one of the anti-tank gun crewmen. Gunner killed, Sniper down. Looks like he's trying to clear out the forward barracks. 14 victory points left. Definitely a desperate fight. Very desperate. Barely anything left for the Germans. Barely anything. I mean, they might have a chance, but it's pretty slim. Pioneers are getting sniped as they try to clear it out. Spotting the anti-tank out in the open. Point rendered neutral.
Enemy unit down.
Moving in. Everything being thrust in. No! So close! But the armor thrusts in and moves out of the way. Knights Cross Squad gone! And he's lost everything on the field. And there we go, GG. With a nice little smiley. Game over. Quite the fight, almost an hour long. A total loss for the 2nd Panzer Division, although I mean they inflicted heavy losses on the Americans. The Americans in the end inflicted more losses, and the primary problem I think for WMDHigh was partly this sort of Achilles heel he had up here, or I suppose an Achilles shoulder, where several times Xcomreborn rushed in, and there was nothing to really stop him, forcing him WMDHigh to take in forces from here to deal with it. So he should have perhaps laid down some tank traps here. I think could have worked all right. But the primary problem was partly a lack of medic bunkers, and he replaced Volksgrenadiers with Volksgrenadiers, not Grenadiers. He never got any Grenadiers. A few Grenadiers with Panzer X would have worked out quite nicely for him alongside a medic bunker. And also he should not have been placing his packs so close to the front. They should have been farther back, allowing the Panzers to sort of take most of the fighting. Then when the tank destroyers rushed in, they would then be engaged by the tank destroyers and then take heavy damage. So there you go. I mean, Xcomreborn showing all sorts of problems. He probably would have benefited a bit from a Sherman or 2 perhaps upgunned. And perhaps some attacks up here. He rather seems to sort of get stuck in sort of a slightly more, but at least he kept attacking from several points. But I think he also should have been attacking, breaking up freshly here. But there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. If you did, why not subscribe and tell your friends? And if you didn't, well, why not send a replay of your own? Or provide some feedback in the comments. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.